Hello and welcome to Easy Mind, Easy Life. Yes, we're back, but it's no longer Your Past is a Gift. We are now finally Easy Mind, Easy Life. I knew way back when that I created the website and I created the YouTube channel. I created all of that under the name of Easy Mind, Easy Life. I knew that one day that book was going to be made a reality. I just knew it, and that's why it was created. But we started all our first videos with our Your Past is a Gift, because that's the knowledge I had at the time. Now you have covered in yucky mucky mud, which after that I got so busy doing all these other things, which I already explained in the previous video that way, that I just didn't have time to come back and give you more information of what was happening next. But we'll work through it. In this video, okay, I wanted to plant a little seed because I love planting seeds. Now, imagine, all right, let's go back to the moment that you just came into the world, right? You just came out and then you gave out your very first cry, right? You let everyone know I'm alive, right? In those first few months, in that first year of your life, in the first maybe 2 years of your life, I'm going to stick to the first year, okay? In that first year of your life, all right, you are born with no judgments. You are born with no beliefs, nothing. You have no idea. You have no idea what God is. You have no idea what good is. You don't know what bad is. You don't know what right is. You don't know what wrong is, right? You just observe the world. If not, look at any child in their first few years of living, right? Especially in that first year. Eyes are always wide open and they're taking in everything. They're taking in the world around them, right? They have no judgments. No beliefs, right? Nothing. Try and sit in that for a moment. Imagine how wonderful that is, that you can just sit and not have to judge. This is good and this is bad and this is right and this is wrong and this is the way it should be. Try and sit in that. How long can you sit in that for? How long can you just observe the world around you? Just watch it go by without having to label anything as good or bad, right or wrong. But it just is. It just is. Now, one example that I wanted to share, and there's many, but I'll go with one. When I was growing up, I remember my mum used to yell at us, right? Especially at me because I was older and I should know better. And I used to get smacked a lot, right? And half the time I didn't know what I had done wrong. 90% of the time I didn't know what I'd done wrong. I just knew that she'd lost the plot and she'd had enough. And, you know, mum was coming after us to smack us and yell at us and all that went on. And for me, that was such a negative thing, right? It was just, I always swore that when I had my own children, I would never yell at them and I would never smack them, right? I just swore to myself. I made a promise that I would never do that because I know how it feels being the one that receives that, right? And then my daughter was born and yes, I never smacked her, right? There was no need to. But in the first 3 or 4 years, I found myself sometimes I would get frustrated with my own issues, right? Had nothing to do with her. And she would just do something and I would fly off the handle and yell at her, right? Because I was using that as an escape, right? To let it out. I didn't want to face it, right? What the issues were. But she was an easy target. So I could easily let it out on her because she couldn't not fight back, but she was little so that she would take it, is basically, you know, I'm just trying to keep it simple. Now, that was the yelling. And to me, that was a blessing that I went through those first 3 or 4 years of her life in that state of unconsciousness, right? I was still unconscious. I knew that something wasn't right, right, at this stage. And this was just before I wrote my book, Your Past is a Gift. I knew that something wasn't right. I'd been waiting my whole life to have her, right? And that was going to be like everything was going to be perfect after she was here. And then it wasn't, right? So I found myself yelling at her. And in that yelling, I could feel exactly how my mum felt when she would yell at us, right? It makes you feel bad that you're yelling at your children. They're not deaf. There's nothing wrong with their ears, right? They're not going to understand the message better because we're saying it louder. But my biggest my biggest awakening was that every time I yelled at her had nothing to do with her. It was my issues that I was going through at the time. And so I would feel even worse after, because on top of those issues that were making me feel bad, I had just yelled at her and she had nothing to do with it. So I would feel twice as bad. You know what I mean? I was just piling on more bad on top. So that to me was a blessing because I could understand how my mum had felt, right? As we were growing up. That was the first thing. But the most important thing that I just realized, only just in the last year or so, is that even with all that, even with all the yelling, even with all the smacking, I love where I am right now. I love where I am right now. And so, I look back on it and I think none of that matters. Like, it wasn't, as much as I saw it as a negative thing or as a bad thing, now I realize that it's not bad or good. It's not right or wrong. It was just my judgment of it. It was just my perception of it that made it negative or made it bad. But it was neither one or the other. It was me that made it so. So that's something to think about today. Go through your day and pick something that you feel in your childhood was such a bad thing or such a negative thing, and really sit with it. Really sit with, it doesn't make you who you are today. You choose who you are today. In every moment, you are choosing who you are. So in the next video, let's elaborate a little bit more on that. Okay, I'm just going to leave you with that thought for now. But the next one will talk more about why I said that doesn't define who you are now. Or it never defined you. Okay, next video, okay? I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe to the videos, to the channel, right? So, you don't miss any of the messages because the next one might just be the one, okay, that unlocks it all for you. I love you guys. Bye for now.